Folks, welcome back to the Iowa Chill Show. It is November 14th. We were recording on a Thursday here. We got Bryce heading to Tennessee, but this episode will be released the Monday. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Bryce Borscheller. Bryce, I was in your neck of the woods today. Not only in a neck of your woods, I was a quarter mile away from your crib.
Yeah, you sent me some snaps. And Waukee, how was your trip?
It was beautiful. What a beautiful neighborhood. That is the most Christmas globe neighborhood you can imagine during the Christmas time. So I can't wait to come back when the lights are up in that neighborhood. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Waukee has it figured out.
They do, and it's growing really fast. And I have a feeling it's going to be one of those neighborhoods where people are going to compete for the best Christmas show, the best Christmas lighting.
I 100% believe it. It's funny because I always love driving all throughout the state. I was in Keokuk yesterday, and you can just smell and feel the air of Keokuk, Iowa. And when you go to Waukee, you're in a Christmas globe. And on my way back today, I was about 20 minutes outside of Cedar Rapids. A car in front of me slams on its brake, and out the driver's side window goes an object flying. I believe it was a phone flying out of the driver's window. A dude basically gets kicked out of the car, looking kind of homeless, and just throws this. I have to slam on my brakes in the middle of the highway, Highway 30 here. And then just walks over to the ditch, grabs his phone, and another car just takes off. And he's just stranded.
That's unreal.
Just stranded out there. And just another day, man.
I can't imagine being on Highway 30 with no phone.
Yeah.
It'd be the worst.
Yeah. And that's not the only thing I saw on Highway 30. I did see a bunch of Pella fans outside of Marshalltown. So they must be in state football here.
They are. And as of the time of recording, I think they're going to pull out the win. They're up 14-10 at the end of the third quarter.
Okay, cool. Here in a little bit later in the episode, we're going to jump back to state football here. I do have a little Iowa news for you, but before we get into that, actually, you're heading to Tennessee tomorrow.
Nashville, Tennessee, tomorrow night.
Give me the scoop.
Yeah, so by the time this episode releases, we will have been, at a Vikings game, golfed at the Troubadour, hit a couple brunch spots, and fully consumed by the Gulch and Broadway in Nashville. I'm really looking forward to this trip. It's going to be awesome.
Have you been to Nashville before?
Yeah, but it's been a little bit.
I've been.
It's been 3 years, I think.
And you're a country fan, right?
I am. Yeah. All through college, I was rapping and all the trending stuff, and now it's almost like 90% country.
Back in 2013. This is 2013, 2012. I actually went to Nashville, and I hated country more than any other human on this planet. And we went to Nashville to go see the CMA Fest, Country Music Festival.
Yeah.
And Ryan, like I said, I hated country. Had one of the best times of my life there at the Tennessee Titans Stadium. And we were getting towards the end of the
Nissan Stadium.
We're getting towards the end of the show, and Jake Owen's on stage. But there's a storm rolling in here soon, and Carrie Underwood's supposed to be the closer. And they tell Jake, hey, you're limited to one song tonight, so Carrie Underwood could play more. Dude snapped the guitar between his legs and whipped it out in the crowd. He was so pissed off. It was dope.
Wow, Jake Owen.
And then the storm, here's the funny part, the storm never came. So Carrie Underwood was up there playing like 10, 15 songs.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. First of all, Jake Owen, I have no beef against him. I love a good barefoot blue jean night. Mm-hmm. Grew up on the stuff, but let's be honest, Carrie Underwood has so much more pull.
Yeah.
I think you got the better end of the stick there.
I do love Jake Owen, though. My sister and her husband are the biggest Jake Owen fans out there. They do cameos all the time with Jake Owen. And then they actually bought a signed guitar from him. Hey.
Yeah, he's cool. I really like him. But let's be honest, like Carrie Underwood hasn't released an album probably in like 10 years. It's notable. And she still gets Sunday Night Football just because she has so much pull. Yeah, no, we went to Nashville 3 years ago. You'll remember this guy, Cody Jinks, sings Hippies and Cowboys.
Oh, yeah.
Was performing at Bristol, Tennessee. I didn't know this, but he would be coming to Cedar Rapids like a month later. So I get tickets for my dad and I to go down to Bristol, Tennessee for Christmas 3 years ago. And we flew into Nashville and ended up going to the show. And I'm like, damn, that was a lot just for that concert. But we made the most of it. We had a blast and did some Nashville hot chicken, 4 or 5 hours on Broadway. And yeah, it was like a Monday night in Nashville. It was awesome. Still busy. It's going to be insane.
You're going to have your cowboy hat on?
Yeah, I'm bringing some overalls for the game. I might have to grab a cowboy hat when I'm down there. We wanted to grab one out in Utah, and we couldn't find a country store that was worth it, so we didn't end up stopping. But
Yeah, I love Nashville. Like I said, I went back there in high school, and this is back when I couldn't even drink, or actually didn't even drink. Uh,
yeah,
Loved it though. Had a great time. Like I said, all the bars you went to, even if you're just going down to like a restaurant to go eat, always someone there playing live music, trying to get their name out there. So respect the hustle, you respect the environment. It's a good time. So I'm excited for it.
yeah, super excited for
I
it.
can't wait to get stories back from you when you get back here to the great state of Iowa, where we have some great news coming out of this state. So this actually took place about a month ago, Bryce. Last week
Okay.
we talked about the Great Pizza Ranch tour from Iowan.
Yes, that guy's a legend.
And within that talk, we also talked about the guy doing all the poncheros in Iowa. A little
Yes.
bit different here, but this is a remarkable achievement for the people. An Iowa man brings back the bacon cheeseburger pizza from Jack's Pizza. To accomplish this feat, he tweeted 276 straight days, tweeting at Jack's Pizza to bring it back. And on the
That's incredible.
276th day, they said, hey, the bacon cheeseburger pizza is back.
What a victory for that guy and America, honestly.
They hooked him up with a bunch of gear, bunch of free pizza, swag, you name it. They keep sending him stuff in the mail. Bryson, I haven't got to the best part of the story yet. Not only do you know this guy, Bryce, you and I have partied together in this guy's apartment back at college.
No way. Who is this guy?
This guy's name, Mr. Mark Garman from Algona, Iowa, went to Bishop Garrigan,
Oh.
lived with Dugan our freshman year over there at Campus
Yeah,
Courts.
yeah, 100% a party with him. That's amazing. I barely, those days are blurry and for obvious reasons, but that's so awesome. I can't wait to tell people that I was part of his journey to get to that bacon cheeseburger and getting it back on the shelf.
Yeah, when I think of that apartment, I was with you, and that was the first time I ever had Four Locos, so that was quite the
That's
adventure. We
I associate it with Four Locos as well.
So
A lot of freshman year I associate with Four Loco, but especially that apartment.
we made it out.
Yeah, we're here. That's a huge achievement. So I want to say out of any of the Jack's pizzas, that was our go-to growing up.
I don't know.
That's a huge
I've
one.
actually never had the bacon cheeseburger because I've always been kind of picky. I'm a huge sausage pizza guy, so I've always stuck with sausage pizza.
You're in for such a treat. That's awesome.
At most,
That's
what's the one with like the peppers in it?
probably a Supreme
Supreme pizza.
Yeah.
Yep. If I don't get sausage, I get Supreme. But shout out to Mark Garman. Didn't give up. 276 straight days. I thought it was going to take maybe 2-3 years. I respect Jack's Pizza for like, no, we've seen enough. We're hopping on with this. We're bringing the pizza back. So again, shout out to Mark Garman. Thanks for letting us crash at your crib a couple times and bringing back the pizza for the people.
The power of social media, the power of just human will. 276 days worth of speaking up for what you believe in. That's impressive.
Iowans are accomplishing a lot here lately. But I do want to jump here to state football, where a lot of other accomplishments are taking place right down here on the other side of town as me. State football is taking place. Both our former high schools have made it. My school won it. Bishop Garrigan won it last year, won the 8-man, and they're ranked number 1 this year. They got to the semifinals against St. Mary's Remsen up near Lamar's.
Oh yeah,
And
those guys are always in that 8-man final. It seems like.
so Garrigan was up 6 about 2 or 3 minutes ago. St. Mary's drove down the field. They threw a pass to their player in the end zone. Garrigan's safety tipped it twice in his own hand, almost had an interception. And on the second time he tipped it, went right to the Remsen St. Mary's receiver in the end zone. Caught the ball with 25 seconds to go in the game. And then they went for 2, got the two-point completion to win the game by 2. So knocked Garrigan out of the state semifinals.
Oh shoot.
Yep. It happens. At least they got it last year. Then we jumped to 1A football, or Class A football. The school that's actually 20 minutes away from Laguna. West Hancock won the state championship last year. Beat Madrid 50-35 Bryce without throwing a single pass.
Oh, that's so old school. I love that. Every once in a while, you just have to run the damn ball, and that brings you back to like 50s and 60s gridiron.
And that is the most school to ever do it too, because we always used to play West Hancock out of Iowa, and you were terrified of these guys. They called themselves the Brick Squad, and they played like they were the Brick Squad always. We never beat them when I was there. We didn't stand a chance against them. So it's good to see them continually do this 10 years down the road against other teams. Not even have to throw a single ball. That's savage.
That's amazing. Yeah, and it's just good to see that some guys are still playing hard-nosed football because everyone else wants to run and gun, but not with Hancock, apparently.
Mm-hmm. Did Pell make the state playoffs last year?
Good question.
God, back in college.
I graduated in...
Yeah, sorry.
Dude.
Back in college, they're always
of,
making it. I swear.
Yeah, so my senior year, class of 14, which would have been 13 for our senior year, we went 12-1, and we didn't quite make the Dome. The next 3 years, they went on to have a three-peat. So pretty much every year that we were in college, Pella was in the final and played mini games at the Dome.
So
I did not get to enjoy that.
They three-peated, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's so impressive.
The arm and legs of Noah Clayberg, one of the high school legends of Iowa. It ended up going up to Iowa City for a little bit. I think he still holds the record for their shuttle time, and then he ended up transferring to Dordt College. But yeah, we were the beneficiaries of 1 year of Noah Clayberg, and then they won 3 in a row. I don't know what they've been doing lately, unfortunately. It's the last year though for Hall of Fame coach, Iowa High School Hall of Fame, Jay McKinstry. So hopefully they get a little bit of a title run.
How many years does he have behind his belt?
We would watch game film before games of years past. Like I want to say teams all the way back to like 97. He's been there at least 25 years, 30 years.
Classic. It's
pretty awesome.
We talk about all these.
Pretty fun to watch game film from guys that were in their 40s now. And then you have such a strong alumni presence every homecoming. You'd have tons of people from years past. Super cool. Sorry, I kind of cut you off.
No, you're good. I was just like we're talking about last podcast or the last few podcasts about not only our college coaches being extremely loyal and sticking around. My current high school coach has been there since probably about 22 years, if I had to guess, right around there. Coach Marty Wadley, great coach, great dude, great teacher of the game. So that's where I like it in high school football. I like when your coach can stick. Because you're not out there recruiting. Chimes aren't changing as much in high school football as they are when it comes to the college level. We've seen enough of the college coaches sticking around for 27 years, especially when the route we're going and with our programs get out of here. But it's good. I love to see it when it comes to the high school level.
Me too. Yep. Jay McKinstry was a pillar of the Pella community and taught business principles of ownership, finance, marketing, all the real life stuff. And then he brought that to the football field too. Lots of great lessons. One of his favorites was bring the shopping cart and push it all the way in. He couldn't stand people that were lazy enough to just leave their shopping cart at the front of the store, like in the middle of the road, or didn't quite push it all the way in.
I always remember our coach, Marty Wadley, saying when he was pissed off at you, we went to a Catholic school, had to be lenient what you say. He'd always say, Judas Jackson or googly, googly, frickin' moogly. And when you heard those, you were screwed. You knew you were
way worse than a cuss word. Very few cuss words came out of Jay's mouth either, but man, when they did, it was serious. That's amazing. Yeah, I totally agree. Having those legacy high school coaches is so cool.
So shout out to Apello. I'll have to keep an eye on here. Hopefully, you said they're going to advance.
Looks like it. They were up 14-10. The opponent had just scored the last time I looked. I can check.
You said they're playing Council Bluffs, Lewis Central?
Yes.
They are always in the playoffs too, I swear.
Always. Yep. It looks like...
Is this Class 3A? It's got to be.
It is. So Pella's moved up within the last couple of years. They're now the hybrid 4A.
Really?
So they'll play Xavier and Newton and all those like kind of in-between schools.
I forget there's a 5A now.
Oh, yeah, Lewis Central, 28-16. It looks good. Not much time left. Key first down by Pella just achieved, so looks like they're going to be moving on.
Shout out to the Dutch. Bryce, we're going to play a little game this week. I have been putting you through some quizzes. Actually, it's been the same thing we've done for the last 2 weeks. We're going to put you through the ringer again. I want to make sure I can trust you. I've gone to sleep last couple of weeks, not feeling 100% about it, although you had a huge comeback last week.
By the skin of my teeth, I got some answers right, but I've not been great in some of these guesses.
You really did pull it out. But before we get to that, Bryce, we have a friend of ours.
We do. And are you talking about what I'm sipping on tonight?
Tell me what you're sipping on.
I got a little Body Armor Tropical Punch tonight.
Oh, look.
We've taken the pod to the next level the last couple episodes, and that's all because of the antioxidants, the B vitamins, no artificial dyes, no sweeteners. Body Armor, often picked up at the Quick Star by me, but really at any retail location, has been fueling us up, keeping us hydrated, and putting us on the road to recovery.
Shout out to the Tropical Punch, my first time trying it. So I'm glad you're matching with me on that tonight. And they sent us a whole bunch of swag over here.
Yeah. Yeah, just an insane amount of stuff.
We really do appreciate the support. Them sending all of this to us, Bryce, is telling me that they support my lifestyle. They said, Nate, go live your life to the fullest, especially on your weekends. We know you love to do it. Don't worry about the repercussions. We got you. We're gonna make sure you're hydrated here for the next day, the next week. Go do you. We're gonna take care of you the next day, and that's what I'm being told from these guys, and that's why I love them. That's why I care about their product, because it means a lot and it does a lot for me.
Yep. Thank you, Atlantic Bottling Company, for getting behind the pod and helping us take this thing one step up a notch. I feel like they have really given us a next gear, the next level.
Absolutely. And I think Tropical Punch is my new favorite one. I was talking about the strawberry banana last time.
That's good.
And I always talk about my picky shelter I live in. I get scared to try something else because I love something else so much. I try the Tropical Punch. I'm like, where's this been for the last 5 years?
Yeah, it's great. It's so good. It's awesome. And here's the thing. We've been promoting Body Armor the last couple episodes, but they sent us Body Armor water. They sent us Rain Energy because they distribute all these products. So any Coca-Cola product, that's them.
Yeah, I'm going to be drinking the Rain Energy at 6 a.m. tomorrow on my way to Dubuque, Iowa.
Love that. Well, I'm glad you finally got your product because they came in clutch.
Bryce, I want to know how many rivers you can name at the top of your head that are within the state of Iowa. I'm going to set the over-under. The Mississippi and the Missouri don't count.
Oh, so I don't have to name them.
No, you need to name them.
Okay.
I'm going to set the over-under. I'm trying to read you right now. 5.
Okay. Mississippi and Missouri do not count.
Nope.
Not even one.
Nope.
Okay. We're going to go with the North Skunk.
1.
The Wapsie. The Shell Rock. The Little Sioux. And need one bad. There's one right out our back door too, and I'm not even going to be able to think of it. It's so sad. Goes right through. It's just right there. All I got to do is say it. What about the Iowa River?
5. Bryce, you're right now you're pushing. You need one more.
Okay, I pushed the bet.
Yeah. Can you cover for the boys?
I'm happy with 5, but I want the 6. Google's out of play, right?
Google's out of play.
I mean, that would defeat the whole purpose. The Cedar.
The Cedar River. The dirty Cedar. Surprised you didn't say the Des Moines.
I think I did.
No, you didn't.
I think that was... Oh, I didn't know.
No, you didn't.
Okay. All right.
That's why I thought...
Yeah, well, then there's 2.
That's one I thought you were talking about. That's right out back.
Yeah, that one's out back too.
Here it is. You said a bunch of rivers I didn't anticipate you to say. I would have thought you would have...
Yeah.
So shout out to you for the little geography there.
Gosh, these quizzes, man, they are taking a toll on me.
You're going to be a 5th grade high school student or 5th grade student here in no time again, retaking Iowa history. I'm going to bring you back to my middle school, and I'm going to Iowa when it comes in February when they do Iowa history. And I said, I got a volunteer right here that's going to take the test with the 5th graders.
Yeah, I'm going to be great at it by that point. You know what I want to do is get on that show with Travis Kelce. Are You Smarter Than a Celebrity?
Those are so tough. We would be so bad.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be hard. I'm just like, I think I know a lot of common knowledge stuff, but it's always like off by a little bit. It's harder than you think.
But shout out to you. Great comeback. I feel pretty good about our relationship moving forward. I think it was disrespectful to set the line there at 5. I think you could have hammered off 7 or 8 if I really would have gave you an extra time there.
Oh yeah, you give me an extra hour, I'd be rattling them off. Be easy.
All right, we're going to jump into something new here this week. Typically, we've been covering football right now, but football is almost the pain in our existence right now, getting us close from stepping out in the traffic, becoming a deer. So we're going to move on to some happier times where every team in the state of Iowa is undefeated that I don't know about the UNI women. Besides,
Okay.
and the UNI men, they're 2-1. But we're gonna go through the season, not the entire season, but we're gonna go through each team, give us our quick initial thought on them. We've seen a few games under the belt. There's some big games coming up here in the schedule for some of these teams. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with the Iowa women. 3-0.
Okay.
We just saw Lucy Olson, the transfer from Villanova, the number 3 leading scorer in the country last year, behind Caitlin Clark, obviously, and someone else. Uh, they look electric. Lisa Boluter's out of
Oh,
the
probably behind that gal from South Carolina too. That girl can score. No, USC.
Juju Watkins. Yep, you're right.
Juju.
So Juju would be number 2. Uh, we Coach Bluter out of the helm. Jan Jensen comes
She's
in,
out.
the longtime associate head coach to Lisa Bluter, and they haven't missed a beat. I mean,
Yeah, they look good so
they
far.
look awesome so far. Up tempo. She is playing. Jan Jensen was a powerhouse post back in her day. I think she scored like 100 some points in a game back when there was
Oh,
6-on-6. So it was easier to score points, but she's got a 2-post starting game right now with Addison O'Grady and Hannah Stolke. Hannah Stolke spreading the floor with the speed and athleticism that we know she has. And Addison O'Grady really creates that more physical, dominant play down low. She shot 100% the other night against Virginia Tech. Iowa took it to them. Uh, Man, they look great right now. I thought there would be
it's
like
exciting.
how would you not expect a little setback from the absence of Caitlin Clark and Kate Martin and Gabby Marshall, who played there for 6 years? I don't even know with these COVID years, and now you set them aside, one of the greatest players of all time, and they come in and they look just fine. That's a shout to Jan
Yeah.
Jensen.
No. 100%. Yeah, to start out like that and win the games that you're supposed to, they're going to feel it once you get to that Big Ten schedule. But the fact that you come out and win those games is huge. I've been watching a little bit of Lucy Olson highlights. She's smooth.
She's very lengthy and slithery.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I kind of describe her game. And she's got a sweep behind the back, mid-range pull-up game. She's deadly with that. You know she can score the ball. She averaged 27 points a game last year. She takes it to the hole. Way different than what Caitlin Clark was doing. Obviously, you're not getting the logo bombs, but she meshes so well with this culture. She looks happy, like a happy Lucy. Jan Jensen's the happiest looking person. Hannah Stolke's always smiling. A good culture going over there at Iowa.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good for Jan, and I'm really excited for Stolke. I think like she's been playing the exact role that we needed her with Caitlin Clark. It's gonna be kind of fun to see her like blossom into the full time like beast that we know that she can be.
The best part about this transition was that when Coach Bluter retired, it didn't go to some outside coach from like South Carolina or like Florida coming in. It just went to the next person that was within the program. And that's why all these players, none of them transferred. All of them stayed. All the commits confirmed they're staying. They just landed a top 4 recruit in the country, Addie O'Deal from California. Small forward, power forward player. So program's looking great here. Caitlin Clark definitely lifted up along with those seniors, and it's good to see the trajectory for this program.
Yeah, and you've taken a very optimistic look at everything, and that's not what I've been hearing from some of the sports talk around the state. But I have no reason to believe that it has to completely diminish. I think you're going to feel Caitlin Clark's absence. I don't know how you wouldn't. She was a generational talent, but there's no reason why the pipeline of recruits and staying in house, keeping Jan and those folks around that's going to help. Like the people that were helping to build that, sticking around helps a lot.
Man, that's what we've been talking about. Iowa loyalty, coaches sticking around, sticking with the programs. I like it.
Sometimes too long.
Yeah. For this case, I like it. It's not long enough. Stick there as long as you possibly can, Jan Jensen. I like where you are. Great person. We saw her outside of the Iowa-Wisconsin game of my in-laws and hundreds of people trying to take photos with her. I'm like, don't try. I feel bad for her. She's no, come on. They went and grabbed a photo with her, no problem. Super tall, obviously. It's a great human being. You can just tell on and off the court, especially when does media and how she interacts with fans always. And I know we'll move on here, but when Iowa went to the championship 2 years ago when they lost to LSU, they had a celebratory thing at the old Capitol in Iowa City. I went to that. And all the players were coming right down the middle. I was high-fiving them. And Jan Jensen looks at someone random in my car. She's like, "Oh, how's your grandma? How's she doing?" And she just knew everyone. It was unbelievable. So I'm bought into her. Shout Coach Jensen. Would I get her on the pod someday? I'm sure she would love it.
We should.
Whew.
Dude, I mean, see, I have no problem with there was nothing to change with girls basketball. There's some other programs in that Iowa university that could do with a coaching change. But hands off with that girls basketball program. It's right where we want
Leave
it to
that
be.
program alone. Probably, obviously, the highlight right now for the university. They're unranked right now too. I do want to highlight that real quick. Little disrespect there. I like it though. I,
Yeah, I mean, the last thing a coach wants to see is a team that gets that high rating early in the season and then has to live up to it.
Mhm.
Coaches love working from behind. It's a lot of fuel for practice.
All right, woman, moving to 3-0 here. We're gonna let's keep it on the women's side here, Bryce. Let's move over to the Iowa State women, ranked number 8 in the country. They had that loaded freshman class last year. They took Stanford at the second round of 32 at Stanford, because that's how NCAA tournament works for the college for women.
Yep.
The top seed hosts the first 2 games, and they took them to overtime. Cameron Brink, remember her, all-star, went bucket to bucket with Audie Crooks. Audie Crooks, I think, eventually followed out too, and Stanford was able to pull away with that one. But that's a promising start to a bunch of freshmen career there at the Iowa State University. Obviously, the polls see that and gifted them number 8 to start this season, and they're moving along just fine right now, 3-0.
Yeah, doing exactly what people thought, huh? Yeah, I don't know if people expected them to make that run in the tournament. I know it was only 2 games technically, but they pushed a pretty tough Stanford team. Dude, I'm looking at Audie. I'm excited for her season. I think she's going to have one of those historic college careers as well. I'm excited to watch these girls, and I'm glad that they got that high ranking because honestly, I think if anything, that was the last thing that Iowa State needed was that girls basketball ranking to climb up in that top 10, top 5 range.
Miss Efficiency is what I like to call Audie. I've been watching her since her freshman days over there at Bishop Garrigan. She made it to the state championship 4 years straight. Lost the first
Yep.
2, won the final 2, and just unstoppable force. A lot of people question, oh, her game won't translate to the college basketball level, especially
Dude,
especially when you go to a 1A school. You're always going to get that, right? Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
that's natural.
yeah. And did she shut her haters up, or did she shut them up quicker than we ever imagine? First year, they go to the Big 12 championship. Audie puts on her show. I think I know she was the Big 12 freshman of the year. They did
She was.
lose to Texas. Texas was pretty dominant. They had us dominant forward there. But how good of a start to your career is
No, it's gonna be legendary. I don't know if you remember this. We got to watch one of her games together. I think when she was maybe a freshman at Algona at Bishop Garrigan. We actually road tripped over there and I got to see her in person. That's the last time I've seen her in person. I hope I can get up to a game in Ames this year.
was that Gardner Hayfield?
I think so. I don't know if you remember this, but there was a guy that actually got knocked out of the boys game after too.
Gardner Hayfield, yeah, he went for a layup
Yeah.
or a rebound and it fell on one of our players and had like a seizure. And we did get reports immediately that he was okay. He did have to go to the hospital, but a scary thing to witness during the game. I wouldn't want to. I get terrified after I sprain an ankle. I'm like, I don't want to jump for the rest of my life.
Speaking of, did you start your pickup league yet?
So God heard me the other day, and he's super worried about my health. The guy running, who's in charge of our team, signed our team up too late. We're supposed to start a league last night. I was a little upset about it, but I'm okay with it because I'm going to Cancun in December. And like I said, dude, every night I've been stretching my Achilles. I don't know. I feel like something bad was going to happen.
I was so worried for you. I think that's a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, I just knew for the first couple of weeks I wasn't going to go inside the 3-point line. I'm like, I'm only shooting threes. I'm not rebounding. I'm not doing anything crazy. But I would feel the competitiveness inside of me would want to go for a layup, and that would be it. So I'm kind of glad it didn't happen. I do miss balling though.
I get it. I get it. For the longevity of my knees, my hips, everything, I'm staying away. And I'm trying to make golf fill that void. But there's nothing quite like being on the floor, hooping it up.
No,
sorry, I had to interject with that because I was worried for you.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's probably for the better. I'm always
100%.
We went and signed our loan the other day, and I was walking out, and I tripped on the curb. I rolled my ankle on the curb, and I went down. I'm like, ah. I was like yelling. I rolled it pretty good, and a guy across was walking like State Farm or something. You all right, man? Madison was right there. He's fine. And I had a limp. But then we had to go to Menards after to do some Christmas shopping for lights and stuff like that. I was limping. I was babying it for sure, but I don't know.
You do you and Jeremy Young lead the nation in twisted ankles. I have played countless hours of ball, high school through pickup in college, and I never had a high ankle sprain.
I think I have like 7 on one leg, and then probably 4 or 5 on the other. So I have damn near 15 sprained ankles, like decent, good sprained ankles.
I'm telling you, man, blessing in disguise.
Mm-hmm. But
Okay, where were we?
Iowa State women. I don't know what the ceiling of the floor is really here. I think number 8 is probably a little too high to start them. I would have put them at number 15, 16. Uh, you got to see how the freshmen can transition to their sophomore year, but I do have a high ceiling for them. Obviously, they went to the Big 12 championship last year. Let's see how they do in the regular season. Can they get the outright Big 12 title?
Yep. Start with that conference title and see where it
And then
goes. It's just one game at a time once you get that
NCAA
tournament.
tournament, you're going to host. You're arguably going to host the first 2 rounds here at Hilton with a great home field advantage, home court advantage, especially here in the state of Iowa, where basketball has clicked more than any other state, I would say, in the country, especially for women. So I think Iowa State, you're going to see them in the Sweet 16.
I love that prediction. I'm for it. The one thing I haven't seen yet is their outside shooting, and I love that you're building around Audie. I think that's so stable. That's consistent. That's rebounds. That's defense down low, and that is easy buckets. But you get later in the season, you're going to want that outside shooting.
Let's see if they can build up that throughout the season here. Obviously, having a post player is going to open up everything for your shooters. The opportunities are going to be there. Once you see a couple get knocked down, you know your pure shooter, Bryce. Once you get a few going, it could be a good thing. Because that reminds me of the year Peyton Sanford, not last year, but the year before. I think he missed 30-some straight threes. One of the best shooters to ever
Yeah.
go through Iowa. It's just a shooter slump, man. It's a thing. So with that being said, let's jump into the Iowa men here. 3-0, had a pretty promising win over South Dakota. Was it last night? No, Tuesday night. Obviously, they haven't put anyone outside of that. Traditionally, what we know of Fran McCaffrey is that he's going to pit out as many people as he can. He's going to want to run 12, 13 dudes. And that's with teams who shouldn't be having 12 or 13 dudes out in that core. This year, Bryce, I can see him pitting off 15 guys. We are deep this year. And as a baller, I don't like that. How can you get in any rhythm, Bryce? You tell me. If you're going in for 5 minutes, I'll say next 5 out. You know, did you like that? Would you hate it?
I'll tell you what you do. You do not maintain a rhythm. We played 10 to 12 guys in high school, and as a shooter, that's the worst thing that could possibly happen. You get hot and you get taken out because we ran the full court press, and that was a Mark Core staple, and it works, and it was great. We had a lot of good teams, but it's tough. You have to play a lot of guys because you get exhausted on defense. So I can only speak to the high school level, but I kind of feel the same way about our shooters. If there's one thing that Iowa basketball prides itself in, it's being able to shoot the outside ball. So I personally don't like it, and I think I agree with you. It's not my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, that's agree or not. That's what Fran McCaffrey is going to do this year. Obviously, he runs a high tempo offense. That's where he's getting the energy from these guys. That's why he's got to go deeper than most teams. 15 is a little absurd. I don't know if we're going to see that moving forward, but he's been showing that here in the first couple of games, probably trying to get everybody a feel for the season, which I'm fine with. And we're going to score the ball. I'm never worried about that with Iowa. What you're worried about is defense.
Yeah, for sure. And it's the athleticism. I know you mentioned it last pod. It sounds like we have a couple athletic transfers, and that's great. I wonder if some of that deep lineup is just to figure out who plays well together, who's good in which situation. You're playing teams that you're supposed to beat, so let's figure some things out. I hope that they whittle that down to about 10 to 12 instead of 15.
Iowa does do a full court pressure here and there, but it's the laziest full court pressure you've ever seen. The little 1-2 trap before they get the half court, and then teams are scoring them with at will. But some people are like a high or end on them right this year. You think like, hey, this team's going to way overachieve it, and a lot of people are like, no, they're going to be trash. I am on the opposite optimistic side of here. I think they make the Big Ten. I mean, not the Big Ten, but the NCAA tournament at a 9 seed. Hopefully, get that first down, and then probably go out again in the round of 32. And that great drought that Iowa's been in, that we cannot get to the Sweet 16. What I want to see from Iowa this year is we need one player that extremely step forward. You need a baller. Ever since like a Luka Garza, obviously not to the Luka Garza level, but you need a dude that can average 22, 23 points a game.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's not Lucas hanging on trees. So if that's going to be anybody, who do you think it's going to be?
It's got, I want to say Sanford, but he's such a hit or miss. He's going to
Hmm.
have those nights where he hits 6, 7 threes.
Yeah,
Owen Freeman's got to be our dude. He's got to be
I
dominant
think
down
so
low.
too.
You got to have the post
As a
presence.
as a spot up shooter, I'm going to be honest. You don't run an offense through a spot up shooter. So I do take Stanford out of that. I think that he plays his best ball as a not as more of a catch and shoot guy. I loved what I saw from Freeman. I think he does have to be that guy. The versatile forward is one of the most deadly positions if you got a good one.
Yeah, Big Ten Freshman of the Year last year. He did have some foul troubles for sure, as would any incoming freshman at the center position. You're going to get outman, outbodied down low. You're not going to know how to properly play defense, how to use your body. Hopefully, he takes that adjustment going into this year because we're going to need him. The only problem I have, Bryce, is who's going to. You're down 2, you're down 3, you're down 1. Who you giving the ball to for the go ahead bucket? That's where I would lax this year.
Mm-hmm. And that's where I have no problem with Sanford taking charge and hitting those shots. I just don't think you run 80% of your offense through him. God, what was I going to say? Oh, we watch a lot of Big Ten ball. We've watched a lot of Big Ten ball for a long time. Who is, with Edie leaving Purdue, some other big names leaving, who is the team to beat in the Big Ten?
Is that Ohio State, I think? Is a team to keep an eye on right now. I
Okay.
think they just had a big win the other night. God, I haven't quietly submerged myself quite in the basketball season. I will be this week, like you said. Normally around the Thanksgiving, I'm really going to jump into it. I would say, obviously, Purdue. They had the 7'4" dude, of course, right? He's out for the year, so next 7 foot man up for Purdue. Yeah, Ohio State.
Okay. Yeah, and we will watch a ton of it, and a couple weeks into the season we'll know. But it just feels like there's been so many good Big Ten teams. I know that they've flopped a little bit in the tournament, but it just feels like year after year they're bringing in great teams.
Michigan,
It's got to be. I mean, Hawkins finally has to be gone from Illinois, right?
I believe so.
Finally.
Michigan State took it to the wall the other night against number 1 Kansas.
Okay.
They're going to be athletic.
Man,
They
I
have
did.
that dude that can. They
That's.
have a dude that did a windmill dunk from the free throw line as a
Mhm.
freshman at Michigan State. I mean, he did it in a practice, but this dude is a lot of athleticism over there. And jump back to Iowa. His name's Saydu. Keep an eye on number 7, Saydu.
Yeah.
This guy can ball. He can jump. He can get to the rim. That's exactly what Iowa needs. They need because when you get to the NCAA tournament, what kills us every year is athleticism. These teams have these quick,
100%.
athletic 6'6" guards. We have no chance of stopping them.
Yeah, you got to have guys that one can keep up with the other guys' quickness. Two, you got to have somebody that can penetrate the lane because we have spot up shooters. We got to get those guys open, and as soon as the teams collapse, I think we're in a good spot. So hopefully he's that guy.
Yeah, Josh Dix has been looking good. Price Sanford, Peyton's brothers actually outscoring Peyton right now. It's not going to last that
Oh,
long.
really?
Yeah, they're playing against these trash teams. You don't find out a lot, but we will be keeping an eye on tomorrow night. Iowa heads to the Quad Cities, Owen Freeman and Brock Harding, neck of the woods. The host of the game against Washington State, who beat Drake last year in the first round of the NCAA tournament. What I know about these Washington State Cougars is that they had the tallest team in college basketball last year. That's all I know.
Interesting.
Yep. So good. It's a good first matchup for your 4th game of the year, and you're going to
Yeah,
get the home crowd advantage over in the Quad Cities. People are going to attend there. I'm looking forward to that tomorrow night.
that's gonna be sweet. So that'll have been a couple days prior once this comes out. But where are they? Where are they playing the
I
game?
was going to look that up. I don't know.
That's interesting. That's so
Uh-huh.
cool. I love. Hopefully, it's some
I
classic high school.
I
arena or
know
something.
that the Missouri Valley women's basketball tournament every year is at the Quad Cities. I wonder if that's the arena they might be having that. Bryce is doing some
You
digging.
know
And
what we
he's going to
need?
find it out right
I'm
now.
gonna do some digging. You know what we need once we really take this pod to the next level is our own version of Joe Rogan's Jamie. We can always have somebody looking stuff up for us so we don't sound stupid.
I know. What do you call them? The little producers?
Yeah.
Make up slideshows.
Iowa versus Washington. It
State.
came up with Kinnick Stadium, and I just know that that's
I versus Washington State Quad Cities.
Quad Cities. Let's see. Location: Moline, Illinois. Is it going to tell me where it's at? That'd be fun to know.
The Vibrant Arena.
Okay. Hey, good find. Vibrant Arena. What's the Vibrant Arena look like in Moline, Illinois?
Vibrant Arena capacity is 12,000.
Okay.
Damn.
Man.
Oh, that wait,
this looks.
that's for concerts. I'm not sure. 9,200 for hockey, so it's probably going to be about 9,200 people.
Somewhere in between there, yeah. Dude, that looks cool. I actually like the look of that venue a
Oh,
lot.
sweet.
That's gonna be fun. So what does Carver hold?
15,500 or something like that.
Okay.
It's ridiculously
So you're
big.
not losing too much.
They almost did
Dude, that game's gonna be sold out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they need to knock Carver down and build a smaller arena. There's nothing worse than going to a big gymnasium arena with a 50% capacity.
Yeah.
And that's what makes college
The only
better.
time it was full was when Caitlin was there.
Mhm.
If there's wrestling or if there was Caitlin Clark.
If
that
you could
thing was
fill
full,
it, it's
but
an
otherwise-
awesome arena. One of my favorite arenas, but
Yeah.
they can't fill it, obviously, with the struggle of the basketball programs last year. But Caitlin Clark proved that, hey, if you're legit, people will show.
Cool. That'll be a fun game. So we'll have to recap that in a week and a half or so. But yeah, eventually, I feel like around Thanksgiving, you start getting those tougher matchups, and a lot of times it's non-conference play. So we'll see what the teams are made of. I think we got one more team to preview.
Yeah. We're going to jump into the Iowa State Cyclones here. We're number 7 in the country. 2-0. They've played 2 of the worst teams in the country so far. We haven't learned a damn thing about these Cyclones. What I can tell you, Bryce, is that they're just a well-rounded team. Otzberger's going to have team basketball going on. You're not going to see that one dominant person. Taylor Lipsey's been there for 10 years. Mogdanovich, I can never say his last name. I think he's going to go pro after this year. 6'7".
Think so?
Yeah. I'm actually surprised he didn't go to the draft last year. He's got such an NBA translation game that's going to transfer perfect over to what they're looking at, especially for small forwards at that 6'7", 6'8" position that could do the Dirk Nowitzki fadeaway, shoot threes. I just don't know if he can play defense. Needs to put on a little weight and strength, but Cyclones, you're going to get great defense out of them. They have some huge tests coming up here. We're going to find out real quick, Bryce. November 25th, Auburn's coming to town.
Okay. And the SEC has looked so much better in basketball lately. They've been football powerhouses for 2 decades, but they're looking a lot stronger on the basketball floor too.
Yeah, they have, especially with Alabama kind of leading the way. Actually, I'm not sure if that's at Ames or if that's just one of those Thanksgiving tournaments.
Yeah, neutral.
Because I think the Big 12 does the Big 12 SEC challenge like the Big 10 does the Big 10 ACC challenge. So if that's the case, then it very well could be at Hilton, which would be a rocking environment. Auburn's good. I watched them put up like 130 the other night. And do you see that one player for Auburn?
No, I didn't see it.
His team was going off. They're up like 70-30, and he must have wanted the ball or something. But his team they were just launching threes, but they're going in every time. And he was like throwing his hands. He was pouting. He was benching and moaning for some reason. And later that week, they're on the way to Texas for a game, I believe. And they got in a fight altercation on the plane. They had to do an emergency landing on the plane at a nearby airport to settle the dispute.
Is he still on the team?
I don't know. Down there in SEC,
Man,
I'm sure he is, because we're in that last 2 years ago, Alabama had that one player that basically gave a guy a gun, and then that guy killed someone.
Yeah.
And then nope, he's fine.
That's true. Those schools just seem to allow anybody to play. He was literally almost convicted of either participated in or did murder the guy. So yeah, he's probably still on the team. So I guess that's, if you're an Iowa State basketball player watching this, watch out. This guy's a nut job.
Yeah, I don't know. Why would you even want that guy on your team at that point? You know,
that's got to be a cancer in the locker room. Like if you're fighting your own teammates, that's never a good sign.
Yeah. The big question about this year, Bryce, obviously, I expect Iowa State to win the Big 12 tournament. I don't know about the regular season. Kansas has always dominated that for years. I think last year was the first year in, gosh, I don't even know, like 12, 15 years. I could be wrong, like 20-some years that they won the Big 12 outright regular season. But we know Iowa State owns Kansas City. Their fan base own Kansas City. Hilton South is what they call it. So I expect Iowa State to go in there, win that tournament. The question mark here is, can they get that monkey off their back and advance to the Elite Eight?
Yeah. Yep. That's the next step. For us, we're those Hawkeye fans. We're still looking for that Sweet 16, but Cyclones have something to prove, and they just feel like they've had such talented lineups lately that it just feels almost criminal that they haven't gone a little further. And every year, and I'll be honest, even if they don't win that Big 12 tournament and they're like a 7 seed, I will have Iowa State in the Final Four. I've been putting them in there year after year, and it just hasn't quite panned out. But I did the one full game of college basketball I've watched so far this year was Kansas versus North Carolina. That was an awesome game. Um, Speaking of guys that have been there forever, Hunter Dickinson
Oh
will
my
not go away.
God.
He is the modern day Perry Ellis. Just will
God.
never graduate.
Unbelievable. I hate how he plays the game. I would love it if you played for Iowa, because there was a rumor at one time he was coming to Iowa after transferring from Michigan because he had a podcast with Jordan Mohannon. I would have loved that.
I mean, he was at Michigan forever. Now he's been at Kansas for 2 years. These guys, I can't believe that COVID years are still happening. But yeah, Kansas is going to be tough to get through. They never look great in the Big 12 tournament for some reason. But yeah, they're just going to be a force to be reckoned with. UNC made a very strong run at the end of the game, but Kansas is deep, athletic, they can shoot, and you got the 10th year Hunter Dickinson holding it down in the middle.
Iowa State's key is obviously their defense, Bryce, which gets them far throughout the season. But when it comes to NCAA tournament, that could be almost your Achilles sometimes. You focus more on the defense than the offense. When you get to the NCAA tournament, you're playing some of the most elite scoring teams in the entire country. If you can't score at above average level, I don't care how good a defense you're going to play. These teams are going to find a way. You got to be able to put up points to compete. Illinois showed that last year against Iowa State. Iowa State bullies teams that are a little out of physicality, less superior than them. Those teams stand no chance. But when you get about the same skill level as Iowa State, and if you can score at okay rate, that's where you create problems with Iowa State, and that's where they've been struggling under Ottsberger there in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I mean the whole thing for me last year was you knew that they were going to force a lot of turnovers. They were going to make teams very uncomfortable. But it was always like, okay, if they do go down, eventually you meet a guy that's just as big and bad as you. Who's going to make those open shots? And it was kind of Lipsy, and I hope that we see a little bit more from him this year. But it was always kind of a question mark, like, shoot, like you get late into the tournament, you're going to eventually have to make shots. You can't rely on your defense forever.
Yeah, exactly. Great point there, Bryce. I was going to bring that up. Same problem as Iowa. Who's your go-to dude? Who's going to get you that 20, 21 points per game right now? I'm looking at their starting lineup. Everyone's averaging 13 points a game. That, like I said, very well-rounded team, but you're going to need someone to take that extra 2 steps there at Iowa State to really make them an elite team.
What's your prediction for the Cyhawk basketball game?
Things are always tricky when it comes to a rivalry game, especially when you get the home court advantage. The home court teams have been dominating this series for the last decade. I just don't, unless if Iowa shoots the lights out, which is very possible. I'm going to give us 80%, 70. Actually, I'm going to lower it down to a 65% chance Iowa State wins. So you're probably going to have Iowa trying to cover 6 or 7 that night. Maybe heck up to 8, 9 potentially to see how, depending on the games go up at that point. Is it possible Iowa comes out with the win that night? Yeah. Yeah,
of course. Yeah. A shooting team always has a shooter's chance.
Yeah. 2 years ago when Iowa State was really good and Iowa was okay, we blew Iowa State out in the first half. I was there. I was having the best time of my life. An Iowa State fan was sitting right in front of me, right behind me. And every time we made a 3, you would see this. Just stared him down every time. It was the worst Iowa fan ever to be around. But it was awesome. We just took it right to him. Hopefully we can get that same scenario. That's when we had.
That's the best part. I mean, go ahead.
2 years ago was maybe it was 3 years ago. Fuck, I don't remember. I think it was Keegan Murray.
Yeah, that would have been.
Well, no. So
3 years ago.
So 2 years was Chris Murray's senior year, and Tony Perkins all them. They just balled out that game.
Yeah, Chris had those. He wasn't as consistent as Keegan, but Chris had those days where he'd get hot, and that's fun. Yeah, I remember a couple of years. I mean, many years ago now, when Utah went off for like 29 points in the first half. The funny thing about that matchup is it just doesn't. The best team does not always win. That makes those in-state rivalries a lot of fun. What are your thoughts on bringing the Big Four Classic back?
Absolutely, they should do it. I
missed that. That was so much fun.
I get it for head coaches at Iowa and Iowa State. Like, why would we do this? We're paying these guys to play us. and there's a damn well good chance they're going to beat us. It's a lose-lose situation for us. I completely get it, but for a fan bias perspective, bring that matchup back. Wells Fargo was awesome. Wells Fargo is awesome, and it's a chance for the underdogs in the state of Iowa for Drake and UNI. You do not want to play Drake right now. Well, so we might as well jump it right into the Missouri Valley.
Let's do it.
Drake, they might be better this year.
Really?
Yeah.
I have not seen any of their stuff yet. What's their
Coach
MO?
McCollum, Ben McCollum out of Northwest Missouri State, four-time champion, I believe, over there at the Division II level for the Bearcats.
Okay.
Brings a lot of history with him, a lot of loyalty, very loyal guy to his programs, and that's exactly what you need at a division or a small school like Drake, because in 2 or 3 years, someone's going to be hitting him up, especially potentially even after this year. He does have a 4-year contract. Well-rounded team, very well-rounded team. Plays solid defense. What you saw from Coach DeVries too. You got guys scoring 30 points one game. They pitted to Stephen F. Austin the other night, beating them by like 15 or so. The spread was 4. Drake, they've looked awesome the first 2 games. I expect them to be top 1, top 2 here in the Missouri Valley Conference.
Well, that'd be awesome. I would love to catch a couple more Drake games. I went to Drake UNI last year. I went to Drake, I want to say Illinois State. That arena is, it's nothing to write home about, but it sure is a lot of fun to have a team that's got some buzz in your home city.
The Nap Center, baby. I went to the Drake UNI game last year. I had my Drake clothes. I had my sister make my dad a Drake sweater. So my brother, my dad, and I were wearing our Drake blue. We went to the UNI Drake game, and Drake just got piss pounded. UNI center, who hasn't hit a 3 all year, hit 3 that game. And that's those rivalries, man. That's how it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's just ball. That's just college ball. The best team does not always win. So you went to the Drake UNI game at McLeod, and I went to the one at Knapp. Makes sense. Yeah, they're fun matchups. I really don't know what to expect from the Panthers, but I love hearing that about the Bulldogs.
Especially when you lose Coach DeVries and arguably the best player to ever go through Drake, ever, who leaves your school a year early before he sets history there. And you're expecting a major setback, you're right back there. That's a breath of fresh air for Bulldog fans and for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Drake guy.
Yep, you have been a Bulldogs fan. I think we mentioned this on the pod, that legendary watch party in the NCAA tournament downtown Des Moines.
Shortly before I vanished into the depths of hell of Des Moines. Mm-hmm. Yeah, great night. Yeah, can't wait for NCAA tournament there.
Des Moines gets fired up for those. Yeah,
2028.
Yes, that's why we talked about it.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. The Des Moines gets fired up for those Bulldogs, so that's great news. What about the Panthers?
Northern Iowa, we got Coach Jacobson, another loyal coach here in the state of Iowa. I love Coach Jake. See him around town here and there. Great guy. Great culture he's got set there at UNI. Man, our freshman year, what a time. UNI was number 7 or 8 in the country. Seth Tuttle, Wes Washburn, and what a fun team. Paul Jesperson.
Do you remember that UNI Wichita State game in 2015?
That was at the Jack's Pizza guy's house apartment.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, we watched
that. So at the time, UNI I think had dropped to 11, and I think Wichita State was at the time climbing to number 13. So we had literally a college game day hosted at UNI's campus, which will never happen again. I don't know if we'll ever see a top 25 matchup in the Missouri Valley.
Ron Baker.
It could happen, but
no.
Ron Baker.
Fred Van Vliet. Yeah, fun matchups.
Yes, Fred Van Vliet's still playing in the league. There are some good players.
UNI's playing them right now as we speak. Okay. Yeah, it's a shame that Wichita State is no longer in the Missouri Valley.
Yeah, Creighton, Wichita State, some of those teams they really brought the next, it went downhill after those guys left, which sucked.
Wichita State leads 34-30 there at halftime over there in Wichita, Kansas. Going back to the projections here, UNI was projected to finish second in the conference. It's kind of been their kiss of death here the last 3-4 years. They've been projected to be like 1 or 2 every single year, and UNI's taking a backseat towards the backpack of the Missouri Valley, right in that 8-9 spot. So you hope that these way too early projections actually mean something for once, and Coach Jay can get them in the right track. They had their leading scorer, Bourne. Actually, it wasn't a leading scorer. The leading scorer, Nate Heisey, who transferred over to Iowa State this year.
Heisey's gone.
I don't think he's doing
You know
much.
who's going to be fun to watch? Is he not?
I think he's
Yeah,
like 3 or 4 points a game right now. But like I said, 2 games in the season. We'll see if he can find himself a role.
Yeah, that Trey Campbell's going to be fun to watch. I loved watching him. A little too much of the offense flowed through his hands last year. I hope that's not the case because he's explosive. He just shouldn't have to carry the entire team. I'm trying to remember who else is on that
Well,
team.
Bone
I
Born.
don't recognize a lot of these names.
Bone Born was an awesome player, very explosive player out of there from Norwalk, Iowa. I watched him torch the state tournament for 2 straight years, finally getting that state championship senior year. Once Oskaloosa, Cole Henry, and them boys, Xavier, that guy, wherever they graduated, Bone Born was able to get the championship. But Bone Born transfers over to Colorado State. He goes Ben Jacobson's former player, Ali Farokmanesh, who's an assistant there at Colorado State.
Okay.
And,
hey, those a couple guys that can shoot the 3-ball right
and
there.
then Cole Henry went to Wyoming, I believe.
Man, they can't get out of Cedar Falls fast enough. What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. Just too easy nowadays. I
don't know what happened.
I don't mind those transfers. The Bone Born to Colorado State and Henry to Wyoming. Like, you got 1 year left of eligibility. You've lived in Cedar Falls, Iowa your entire life. You haven't had a lot of success. Go get a full ride. Go live have one great year of your life playing college basketball in a whole new state like Colorado or Wyoming. I love those transfers. I hate the Nate Heisey transfer over to Iowa State. Unless if he grew up a monster Iowa State fan, which I know he's from Minnesota, which is possible. I can only see it. But I don't know. Especially when you go from being a leading scorer to like the 9th guy.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Speaking of guys in Minnesota that have some sort of connection to Iowa State, Royce White ran for governor up in Minnesota. Remember him?
Yeah, dude, the guy that was scared of planes.
So, yeah, Royce dominates the college basketball landscape, goes to the NBA after his time at Iowa State, and has to retire because he literally can't fly on a plane. But now he's running for Minnesota governor.
Well, I think I did see something about that like a year ago, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he ran for governor, lost by like 15 points, and good for him. I don't know if he's gotten over his plane situation, but he's not going to have to get on a plane, at least as the senator of Minnesota. Just a little throwback. Now, that's like 10 years ago.
I remember him dunking on Anthony Davis in the NCAA tournament when Kentucky had that unreal freshman team that went undefeated that year.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that'd have been like 14.
No, 14 is when Duke won with Tyus Jones. I think it was like 2 years before that, 2012 maybe.
Okay. Yeah. Throwback names. There were some good Iowa State. They had such a weird pipeline of guys that would come from like community college and end up playing a couple like DeAndre Kane.
DeAndre Kane was
Royce
unstoppable
some
driving to the hoop. Pissed me off so much. He had that buzzer beater against North Carolina there in the NCAA tournament against Marcus Page and them. Yeah, fun times.
And then Iowa just was recruiting in state, like the Woodbury's and the Utahs and all those guys that just really weren't cut out physically or athletically for the Division I landscape. But that is how it went.
Things have changed lately. Iowa's putting players in the NBA now.
That's true.
Yeah, the state of Iowa right now is in good hands of basketball. All 4 schools for both women's and men's. You know, Drake Wilmer are going to be dominant. They won the Missouri Valley last year. You know, UNI's traditionally pretty good. So expect to have a fun year here for the state of Iowa. And football season needs to end right now. We just need to go straight to basketball season.
I'm glad we're moving on. That was a refreshing episode talking about hoops instead of football, which has just been abysmal and disappointing and sad and whatever other adjective you want to say about it.
Bryce, before we end this show, we got to ask the big question: Tyson or Paul tomorrow night?
Okay. We'll see if these predictions are right. This episode came out on Monday. It'll have been 3 days. I'm saying that Jake Paul put a clause in the contract with Mike Tyson to say, I have to win this thing. I'm not sure exactly how it was worded. I don't know if that's even true, but I do think that Jake Paul is going to come away with a victory. He's like 30 years younger, dude. I think he's got it in the bag.
Who do you want?
Tyson's a bad man.
Who do you want to win?
I'd like Mike Tyson to win. I want the legend to pull it out. I want the old guy to pull it out. I've heard rumors that Tyson's beast that hasn't been awake in many, many years is now awake again. He's selling the hell out of this fight. What do you think?
Yes, this is also going to be one of the best promoted fights of all time. That's just what Jake Paul does. He tricked you into thinking he's a boxer. He is a promoter, quote, Logan Paul, his brother said. Came in the one match on a tank. It's awesome. I'm a huge Jake Paul. I'm all in for Jake Paul. I have a hard time believing that Tyson's going to be in shape to fight all these rounds. I can see him maybe last 3 or 4 rounds until he's absolutely gassed at Jake Paul. It doesn't knock him out, but he's whamming on him to where Tyson won't even – he's just taking shelter, and they just have to call it. But
yeah, I don't think you're wrong. I mean, he's going to be faster, younger. His stamina is going to be better. Tyson had an ulcer, so he's battling health issues anyway.
He was in a hospital before the previous fight. You can't tell me he's taken, 2 decades off of fighting that he's just going to get right back to the ring. Against a prime fighter of his age right now. As in, like, Jake Paul is in his prime of fighting. Not saying he's the best fighter of his age. If Tyson's got a chance, he's got to deliver some fast, quick punches in the first couple rounds. Some hard punches.
He's got him. I've seen him train. He still has some of that juice, but it's just the flurry of punches that's going to come from a 28-year-old is just going to be different than the stamina from a 55-year-old.
You've been watching the documentary that just came out. What's like the training?
Yeah.
I just finished.
We did watch a little bit of that.
I just finished the final 3rd episode. Yeah. I do believe in a little bit more Tyson now after kind of seeing that. But I don't know. Hollywood can make it look as good as they want right now.
They're going to sell the hell out of it.
Yeah, so.
They're not going to make it seem like a blowout before everyone buys the tickets.
Yeah, we're having a watch party over there at my brother's tomorrow. Sounds like your fiance will be in town. Can't wait to have her. Come on over to the show.
She will. Yep, I'll be flying to Nashville. Hopefully we can recap a little bit of that. Otherwise, thanks for making some time to do this early Thursday episode that's coming out on Monday the 18th.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast today. I did. It was refreshing, like you said, to catch up on college basketball. Had some good content today. The time flew by. Bryce, you have yourself a solid time over there in the country. Yeehaw!
Will do.
Land.
Will do. We'll be singing, dancing, watching the Vikings, Titans, doing a little golf. It's going to be fun.
All right, folks. All until next time, you guys have yourself a solid week.
Good night.